So school's going to start soon. Are you guys excited? Because not really for me. I still want another few more months of holidays. But in today's video, you guys are going to be very lucky because I'm going to be sharing with you valuable advice that I have accumulated over my past 2 years in uni. And these are the things that I wished I knew earlier. And if you watch this video to the end, I can assure you that you are going to have a very fulfilling uni life ahead. So this video is going to be split into 3 sections: academic, internship, and non-academic. And I have time-stamped the video, so feel free to jump around to any parts that you like. Number 1. Get an iPad. The iPad will change your entire game in university. If not for the iPad, things wouldn't be as smooth and as easy now for me. Like, there are so many benefits about getting the iPad that I'm going to make an entire video about it. So I'm going to keep it sweet and short here. The iPad triple folds your convenience and enhances your uni experience. That's all I'm going to say. More about it in my upcoming video. If you are thinking which iPad to get the iPad Air if you can afford. And no, I'm not sponsored by Apple, but Apple, if you want to sponsor me, please do so. So next, you should definitely try to apply for scholarships. There are different kinds. The kinds that covers your school fees for your entire uni journey, or the kinds that give you a lump sum amount, and they can be either bonded or bond-free. Don't be like me. I didn't try to apply because I thought you need to be a straight A student, and I thought I confirm won't get it lah. But you know, scholarships, they don't just look at your academic achievements. They also look at other non-academic achievements as well, such as your CCA achievements or any other external activities that you might have joined outside of school. Also, I just found out that there's actually this kind of scholarship called the financial aid kind of scholarship, specifically curated for financial aid students who have done well in school. And some, they don't even require you to have very exceptional results. Like, they only require you to have a grade of B and above. So definitely try applying, and be sure to take note of the deadlines. Most scholarships, their deadlines is around April to June. So for this next advice, I have already mentioned about it in my previous video. On day 1, you should already start planning ahead on what modules you want to take and when to take them. Go to your school's website, check your school's requirements, your faculty's requirements, majors requirements, as well as how many modular credits do you need to complete in total. Also have an alternative backup plan just for in the case where you want to take up a second major or minor in future. And then have an Excel template and fill in these modules into your Excel sheet. This is so that it will be more clear on what requirements you have to fulfill, as well as what you want to achieve of your entire academic journey. If you want to learn more on how to do this, you can watch my previous video where I gave you a step-by-step guide. It's called How to Plan Modules for Freshmen. It was my top performing video. Many people found it to be very helpful. And following from this, my next advice would be to take all modules that can be SU'd in year 1. And if you want to try out other modules as well, take it in year 1, simply because in year 1 you are given more amounts of SUs. And next, you should have a good system in place to organize your workload. If you come from JC, the system in uni is quite different. All your assignments are graded, and if you miss a deadline, that's it, a part of your grade is gone. And it's your own responsibility to check the deadlines on your module's webpage. There will be no teachers to remind you of the deadlines. And you can imagine with so many modules and so many assignments, things can get quite messy, and it's quite easy to miss a deadline if you don't have a good system in place. So for me, what I do is that for the past 2 semesters, I've used Notion to organize my workload, and it's free. So I have a page where it's called the Master Lesson Plans, where I track down all the lesson timings so that I won't miss a single lesson. And also a module page where inside I store all my notes, as well as I check the progress for each chapter, like whether did I have a good understanding of this chapter or was it poor. And if it's poor, I remind myself to come back and visit again. And so you can see, with such a clear system in place, I will be less likely to miss deadlines and be more clear on what is going on and check my assignments more easily. But of course, I still miss a deadline line, But without this system, I'm sure that I have missed more deadlines. I have done this in my previous video where I gave you a detailed guide on how to organize a workload, so do go and check it out. So advice regarding studying techniques, let me tell you, I failed my midterms in year 1 Sem 1, but after I discovered these techniques, thanks to Atli Abdal, it was life-changing for me. So what is active recall? Active recall is basically just a fancier way of saying test yourself. Scientific research has shown that we learn best by trying to retrieve information from our brain, not by trying to stuff information into our brain. And if you do this together with spaced repetition, which means testing yourself in spaced repeated intervals, like for instance, on day 1, maybe you just learn the new concept and you draw mind maps for yourself to see how everything links together. And then on day 3, you come back to this same chapter and maybe now you do problem sets to test yourself on what you have learned. And then maybe 1 week later, you come back and this time you write flashcards so that you can use these questions to test yourself in the future. And then another 1 week later, you come back and test yourself on the questions that you wrote previously. If you do this, I can assure you that you are going to do well in your exams. And if you face any difficulties while studying, you can go and attend your professor's office hours. So office hours are basically time set aside by the professors, usually around 1 to 2 hours, where students can go and ask the professors any questions they have regarding the course materials. I've always went for them and I found it to be very helpful because the professors help to clarify my doubts. Usually during final periods, the office hours will be quite crowded and there will be many students waiting to ask questions. So if that happens, what you can do instead is to schedule a one-to-one consultation with your TA, and your TA will usually be more than happy to help you. I know of friends who are very shy and never once attended a consultation question just because they are scared and don't like to talk or ask questions. But don't be shy, just go for consultation sessions because this is the time for you to clarify your doubts and please don't suffer alone. And my last piece of academic advice for you will be to take EDx modules. So what are EDx modules? EDx modules are modules offered by other universities that you can take and complete the course in your own time, and many of them offer it for free. There are no tests and exams. So for instance, right now I'm taking a module CS50, Introduction to Computer Science, offered by Harvard University. And after completion of the course, you can even get a free online cert. And if you want a professional cert, you can pay to get it. And depending on your university might allow you to transfer some of the modular credits that you took from this EDx module over to your university and count towards your academic requirements, usually as unrestricted electives. Plus, they are graded on a pass-fail basis, so you don't need to worry about it affecting your CAP. And even if you don't want to count towards your academic credits, you can just take these modules for fun, learn something new and just enhance your knowledge. And now we have come to the internship section. For this, my advice to you would be to really take the time to research thoroughly on what internships you want. This is because I didn't really know what I want and what positions were available. So what I did was, I just spammed a lot of finance-related positions, applications, and ended up only getting a call from one company. Of course, I managed to land an internship during my summer break, which I'm really grateful for the experience. It was quite fun and enriching. But what I'm saying is that you should try to, do more research on what you want so that you can really get an internship that aligns with your goals and what you want to be in the future. And next, you should try to prepare for internships applications early. Get your resumes and cover letters ready. How early? It can be as early as 1 year before the summer break that you want to do internships. Yes, it's this crazy because if you look at big banks such as JP Morgan, they close their applications for the next summer break internship at around October the year before. And of course, like for most companies, their internship applications begins in January on the year of the summer break internship. But what I'm saying is that, you should always try to prepare them early. And also because during your school, when your school starts, you usually get very overwhelmed and bombarded with your schoolwork that you don't really have the time to do up your resume and, do a good application. And don't be like me, I only tried to apply for internships in March, and by then, a lot of positions are already closed. So please take my advice and do them early. Now we have come to the more fun part, which is the student life section. My first advice to you would be to go on exchange. When you're on exchange, not only do you gain new experience, but also your cap will be freezed, meaning to say the modules that you take at other universities will not be counted towards your cap and only be graded on a pass-fail basis. So for instance, if you're a business student, what you can do is go for exchange and purposely take up difficult finance modules in other universities so that they will not be counted towards your cap and they will only be graded either a pass or a fail. And why do I advise you to go in year 3 Sem 1 specifically? This is because your major may have requirements, like for instance, my econs major in NUS requires us to take core modules and 4K modules in our school. So we cannot do them on exchange and map them to other universities. Right, and if you do later than year 3 Sem 1, you run into a higher possibility of this happening. Don't be like me, I didn't apply for exchange in year 3 Sem 1 and now most likely I cannot do exchange in year 3 Sem 2 because I don't think I'll be able to map my modules there. Sometimes I really wonder what I'm doing in my life. But yeah, for those who are not a fan of going overseas for exchange, and especially during this period now, the pandemic situation is quite volatile, what you can do instead is to apply for local exchange. So for instance, if you are from NTU, you can go to NUS for exchange. And make the best out of your university, make full use of the school resources and join activities. You see, you paid more than $30,000 for your school fees, so of course, you must make your money worth by making full use of the school's resources. Go to the school's library to study. If you're a musician, book the practice rooms to practice your music. Go attend office hours and ask your professors questions. Try to fight for the modules that you want to take and join the school's activities. Make the best out of these 3 to 4 years. And this next piece of advice might sound a bit contradictory to the previous advice, but I want you to reconsider whether is it worth it to join a particular activity in your school. So for instance, you got offered to join a prestigious CCA in your school, and halfway you realize that you lost interest in it, but then you don't want to quit because you don't want to miss out on such a good opportunity. At this point, I want you to think, could you spend your time more meaningfully on something such as finding a part-time job and accumulating your wealth? So really, I want you to evaluate your choices and really take the time to think, how can you make your time worth it? And you are going to doubt your major at some point of time. So you go on with uni, you take higher level modules, and then you realize that the content is getting harder and harder, and then you start to doubt yourself. Maybe you are not as good as you think. Maybe you start to lose interest in this major, and then you look at other people around you from other majors, they seem to be happier than you, and then you start to discover your passion and find out that what is it that you really want, and then you realize that the future jobs that you want to do have not much relevance to the major that you're currently doing. You try to switch major, but you're most likely unable to because schools usually have very strict requirements for switching majors, and then you feel very lost and get depressed and feel that life has no meaning. Okay, I might have sounded a bit too dramatic over there, but this is sure going to happen at some point in your 3 to 4 years of uni. To be honest, most people in school have no idea of what they are doing, and if you find this to be happening, don't worry because a lot of people are just like you, and what you can do instead, is to ask someone for help, ask your friends and family for advice. Maybe you can look for your professors and go to the career counselor to ask for help and see what you can do about it. And this next advice is very important. Don't compare yourself to other people. In uni, you're bound to see high achievers like people who got into big companies for their internships, having done 5 to 6 CCAs, having a scholarship, and getting straight A's for their results. And then you're going to think to yourself, wow, I suck compared to them. But ultimately, it's very important that you remind yourself that we are all different and we each have our own journey to take. So just be yourself and spend your time to do what you care about and what is the most meaningful thing to you. And next, you should definitely start accumulating wealth during uni, especially for those who are incurring student loans. You can do this by finding a part-time job or start to invest. I know the whole idea of investing might sound scary, but nowadays with technology, you can easily learn how to invest online. There's this Singaporean YouTuber that I watch. His videos are quite helpful. I will put a link to his YouTube channel down in the description below. And after that, you just have to source for an investing platform such as Tiger Brokers or RBKR and open an account and start investing. You should also have a monthly cash flow table where you can track your expenses and plan your budget. If you do all this, I can assure you that you will be much ahead than your friends financially, and your future self will thank you today. And the most important part about uni is to really take the time to discover more about yourself. Find out what is it that you care most about, what are you passionate in, and what do you want to be in future. Uni is a new phase of your life, and it's also the phase of life that you are transitioning into adulthood. So I understand it can be quite daunting for some of you. But really, this is the time where you are going to make mistakes and learn, so go and try new things. Life is all about self-discovery and striving to be a better version of yourself. And so, if you want to learn to become a better version of yourself, then click the subscribe button down below. Also, if you found this video to be helpful, then help to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you and see you again in the next video. Bye!